Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Mushib bin Kamsani,
And I'm Muhammad Amin Ain bin Samir Azman.
and we are here to present to you grammar and syntax.
Yeah.
Well, the question that we've been given is, what is the difference between the two concepts of parts of speech and also syntactic categories? Now, we have analyzed the problem very thoroughly, and we have succeeded in
Coming to a conclusion that the part of speech is the part of the synthetic categories. So they are not different at all between the two types of the part of speech and synthetic categories. The part of speech are the under branch of synthetic categories, which have different parts such as part of speech, word clauses, and also the other one is phrasal categories.
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken.
yes, very true.
So the phrasal categories, even though it's not discussed like very much like the part of speech, but still is under the synthetic categories.
Okay, so now let us have a little bit of what is parts of speech. So parts of speech, well, there are 8 parts of speech. The first one is nouns, or just words referring to people, objects, and also creatures. And then we have the second one, which is articles, words used with nouns to form noun phrases. Adjectives, words used typically with nouns to provide more information about the things referred to. Example, happy people and such. Verbs. Verbs are words involving action, like eating or talking. Adverbs are words used typically with verbs to show or to provide information of actions and the state of actions, like walking slowly. Prepositions are words used with nouns in phrases providing information about time or place. And then we have pronouns, which are words used in place of noun phrases, typically referring to people and things already known, like she talks to herself. And also, they said it belonged to you. And lastly, conjunctions are words like and, but, because, when, used to make connections and indicate relationships between events. And that is the basic definition of the 8 parts of speech, which is actually under syntactic.
Me and my partner discussed about what the difference between the synthetic categories and part of speech. We discovered that actually they are not different at all. There are no difference at all because the part of speech is under the synthetic categories. So how are we supposed to find any difference when those two things are very similar? So however, we find something new about the synthetic categories is that the under synthetic categories there is another something structure rules that correlate with part of speech, which is the phrasal categories. So I'm gonna explain about the difference between the phrasal categories and a part of speech. Actually, the only thing that different is that when we're talking about a part of speech, it involves only one word. It is part of speech, meaning one word has its own part, like verb, adjective, noun, and so on. However, in phrasal categories, it involves phrases. That means it involves more than one word, such as noun verb, adjective verb, or something like that. I'm sorry. Phrasal categories means that it is involved noun phrases, verb phrases, and also adjective phrases. So it involves more than one word. So that is different between the phrasal categories and the type of speech. Thank you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this is our tree diagram. Woo! So, in a sentence, there are noun phrases and verb phrases. this is one of the most simple forms of a tree diagram it could be. So over here we have the S, which stands for sentence, and right down here we can see that it is divided into two NP and VP, which stands for noun phrases and verb phrases. Under noun phrases we have the article, also we have the noun. Under verb phrases we also have the article and noun, but with an addition of verb. So we're gonna take a small example of a simple sentence. The house that Jack built. So under noun phrases, the article the house, the is an article and the house is a noun. Under verb phrase, that is an article, Jack is a noun. Under V, verb, we have built. So that is an example of a tree diagram. Good.
Assalamualaikum everyone. So like we mentioned earlier, so now we're gonna talk about the application of the part of speech and the phrasal categories. So we take an example of this sentence, the house that Jack built. So this word, this sentence have their own structures that construct this sentence. So you see the house is under the noun phrases and the Jack built falls under the verb phrases. So this part is the noun phrases and the other part is verb phrases. So we see the division of each part that falls under the phrasal categories. Interestingly about phrasal categories, that it is recursion. Recursion means it is repetitive. It is have infinite potential structures, so that they have no limit of how many words in a structure. For example, of this, the house that Jack built. We can continue this sentence. For example, the house that Jack built, that made of wood, that eaten by a rat, that chased by a cat. So you see that in a sentence there are no limit of how many structures that we can jam into the sentence. I can say that language have their limited number of words. However, the number of words are not limited in a structure. That's why we take this example to show the application of the phrase structure in a words. That's all. Thank you.
Alright guys, so I have a little bit more of additional information. So from the tree diagram, actually we can construct and formulate a new form of the same sentence with the same meaning. So just now, like what my colleague Amin demonstrated, the house that Jack built, now I've transformed the sentence, but it still contains the same meaning. So instead of the house that Jack built, now I've transformed it into the house built by Jack. Same meaning, which is one of the usage of the phrasal structure, also known as a syntactical rule. And that is your additional information, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello everyone. So we're moving to the structural ambiguity. So as we all know, ambiguity means having two or more meanings than one. So in terms of structural ambiguity, we're talking about a structure or a sentence that have two or more meanings in it that can be interpreted differently. So for example, I take this structure, small boys and girls. So the confusion can happen in a noun phrase when we are having when we are having an issue on the application of a modifier. So as we can see, the problem is that the adjective comes before the two nouns, and it happened when they are compound nouns. So we have the two nouns here, boys and girls, and the only thing is that we have the one and only adjective comes before the nouns, which is small. So which we can interpret it as the small boys and girls. I mean the small boys and the small girls, or we can also interpret it as the small boys and the normal girls. I mean they're not smalls. So we have the two different interpretation. So that's why it's called structural ambiguity, because we have different interpretation in a structure. So that's all.
Alright guys, so now we have another example, which is beautiful boys hostel. So there are two meanings here. It's either the hostel is beautiful, or the hostel is for beautiful boys. Now which one is correct? Well, according to the structure, well, it is ambiguous and it can be both. So that is another example of how structural ambiguity can be presented through a tree diagram. Alhamdulillah. So that is it from me and my colleague Amin about grammar and syntax. So basically what we can generally see that grammar encompasses what I mean.
Well, grammar encompasses from many things, such as syntax is part of grammar, and also under grammar there is morphology, and sometimes phonology also can be included in grammar, because, well, in terms of phonology, there are some part of grammar in the phonology. So as we all can see that grammar is very universal, and it is very important and very crucial for us to know the part of grammar and the different other parts, such as the syntax and morphology.
I could not agree more, Amin.
Yes, thank you.
So basically what we can do from syntax and grammar and from parts of speech and also structural ambiguity and also syntactical analysis and syntactical strategy. Wait, what is it? Syntactical what again?
Syntactical rules.
Syntactical rules. Syntactical
Categories.
Categories, yes.
So all of these are falls into grammar. So you see, we cannot separate the subdivision of syntax from grammar, because, well, that's how grammar it is.
And we can do a lot of funny stuff, especially with structural ambiguity.
Yes.
Yes, very funny.
And also the construction of the, like I said before, the infinite structure in sentence,
Which falls under syntax.
yes,
Yes.
which is under grammar.
Ah, mind blown. So that is all from me and Amin. Thank you, and
Thank
we
you.
bid you Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.